Okay, welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for taking time and coming on my show.
Thank you so much for having me, Rocco. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. So like the first thing I want to ask you is typical question is like, what drew you to want to act? Like, when did your passion start for it?
Well, I think it started when I was a kid, but I didn't really realize it. As a 90s child does, you sit there and after you watch the DVD, you want to keep watching it, especially if it's a good movie. So my brothers and I, we would sit and watch hours and hours of special features and just get all the behind the scenes stuff. Like that just it completely captivated me. I don't think there was anything quite that
Mhm.
inspiring. I also had an uncle that worked at Disney Animation, and
Oh
we were
wow.
really lucky in that he would let us go and walk around the offices and see what the artists were doing. So in my head, I was like, anything movie magic would love to do, would be blessed to do. So if I
No-
even get close to that, that would be awesome.
Oh
So that was
wow.
kind of where the seed was planted. Definitely the special features on the DVD.
Nice, nice.
But yeah, from there, I, went to school and university and everything. I didn't really take a whole lot. I didn't take any drama actually in school. University, I took one acting class when I was studying abroad at Leeds University in the
Okay.
UK because I thought, you know, if I'm bad at this, no one back home has to know.
There you go.
Let's just leave that here. No one has to find out ever. But the program was really great, really encouraging. I had amazing classmates. Teachers were awesome. So I came back and I decided I was like, maybe I'll do a minor. And after that, I didn't really do much with it.
Mhm.
Actually started working as a graphic designer,
Oh
and
wow.
then for fun, I was like, you know what? I kind of miss some of those theater games, like the good old zip zap zop. I'm sure you've heard about a lot of that. So I was taking an acting class for fun, and the teacher was like, "How are auditions going?" And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "How are auditions going?" And I was like, "I'm just in your class for fun. I'm not actually an actor." And she was like, "What?" So I had to explain it to her, and she was like, "Just try it. You're really good. Go get some headshots. Like, sign up for these websites. Give it a shot. Like, you're really good. Like, just try it." And
Yeah.
she's not one to, you know, beat around the bush or try to make a dime off of you. She's fine. So I was like, okay, well, maybe if she's saying something, plus she's coached to some pretty great actors that I admire. So I'm like, if she sees something, maybe there is something there. So did that, got some headshots from a friend actually, and then started booking things, and I haven't looked back actually.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. That was a great question.
Yeah. I have to say, I love your Christmas tree with the lights, and you have the cards in the background on top, and that's really cool. I like that.
Thanks. It provides some, festive warmth, even though it's not cold at all in Los Angeles right now.
Oh, okay.
We're getting summer weather.
Oh no, you're getting summer weather around Christmas time.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
Pretty normal though, to be honest.
yeah. It seems that there because it's always warm there, right? In California.
It can get cold. It can get cold. Like it'll drop to, I don't know, like the 40s, sometimes 30s
Okay.
at night in the winter, but especially if you're inland towards the foothills and everything. But yeah, it stays pretty temperate in most of Los Angeles. Yeah, can't complain.
Nice. And what was like the first role you ever had once you start booking your auditions and your gigs? Like, what was the first role you had?
I actually I worked on one of those court shows. Are you familiar with those? Like
Oh yeah,
the different judges and everything. I worked
yeah.
on one of those as a plaintiff. Wasn't actually my case. It was they're allegedly based on true stories. But you go in and you get assigned a role. I've told some friends this and they were actually like, wait, those are not real. And I was like, I should not. This is like adult Santa Claus. I shouldn't maybe we shouldn't talk about this. Kidding. But I worked on one of those. Yeah, I went in for the audition and they had it's actually all improvised. They went in for the audition and they gave us a couple scenarios with a brand new acting partner who you've never met, and you sit down, do the scene, they give you a couple, curveballs and see what you do with it. And yeah, I found out like in the next day or two, they were like, "Hey, you booked it." And I was like, "Oh, okay.
Nice.
Show up here and do this and that." And yeah, that was a cool experience.
Oh, wow, nice. You get the experience of of being in court, like not that it should ever happen, but
Yeah,
but you get the experience.
they make it look pretty real. So I do not blame anyone for thinking that those shows are real because I once did as well.
And you also star and you produced a short film 308.
Yes, yes, that was fun. So that was done through the 40-hour film project. Are you familiar with that at all?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So for anybody that doesn't know, it's a nationwide film festival, and filmmakers from anywhere. You don't have to be a professional. Mostly, it's a lot of professionals working on it though. You sign up with a team. It's mostly your friends and your friends'
Mhm.
friends, and ideally you get friends of different, abilities. So you have people that are actors, you have people that are directors, writers, etc. And you spend 48 hours and you make a short film. It is it is intense, and there is no sleep
Sounds it.
involved, especially if you're on the production side or if you're editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the only true all-nighters that I've ever pulled.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it was great. I mean, you get together with your friends and you make something. For somebody like me, you can't ask for anything better.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And you also did some work for Lifetime too, like you did If I Can't Have You, and as luck would have it. And how was your experience like working on both films and working for a station as big as Lifetime?
I have gotten really lucky. As luck would have it, stars Jackie Harry from Sister Sister. Go check it out. Um, so that writer director David Decato, I've worked with him in the past on a couple other Lifetime projects actually, and he's the fastest draw in all of LA. Like I think while we were working, it was usually about two takes per shot. And then we're turning around, we're moving on. Like that guy knows exactly what he wants. And he's got a crew, they can all read each other's minds. So setup is quick. You're not sitting there forever going back to your trailer and just waiting around playing Tetris. Like they're ready to go. Like you step aside, they move a couple things and they are ready to go. They're the
Nice.
fastest production team out there. Yeah, they know what they want, which is a great thing for an actor, especially as many pages as he does per day. And he likes to work with the same people. So I've had the
Oh,
great fortune of working with some of the folks that I know in the industry over and over again, and they are always on the ball. They got their lines down, like they know what's going on, and you are in, and then you're out, and everybody's happy. So and they're fun shows. What can I say?
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually heard of him, like, cause like he makes a lot of movies.
He does, and he's got some horror street cred too.
I know he does. Yeah.
Yeah, that's your realm, right?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
That's where I known his movies from, the horror world, because I he was the one that made the Brotherhood films, and they're like horror films, and that's where I first heard of him from, and saw his movies.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you should get him on here.
I know, right? Exactly. I didn't even think about that until now.
Tell him I sent you.
Okay, okay, well, like the Lifetime films, especially like Christmas films and stuff, like a lot of those films are done in Canada. Was that where this is shot at?
We did all of the ones that we've mentioned, those were all done in Los Angeles, so
Oh,
I didn't
nice.
have to
Okay.
fly out for those, luckily.
Good, good.
Yeah, yeah. I like a good local shoot, but it's, since the pandemic, there have been a lot of out of state productions, so I've been flying a lot too, which I
Okay.
also love. Sign me up.
Well, it's probably always good though if it's something close, like it's less traveling time. You could go on shoot and go home and sleep in your own bed and
Yeah, and like I think it was If I Can't Have You, but it might have been I If I Can't Have You, or the production of his right before that. But one of them I had to actually go to set immediately afterwards. So
oh,
it
okay.
does help if it's local. I mean, in
That,
that scenario, I was actually flying to Atlanta, but you know, it's close to the airport.
yes, yes, definitely. and and another show that you were part of it, Pam and Tommy. Like I was always a big fan of Tommy Lee's part of the band that I love, the
Yes,
Mod Crew, and it's always been my favorite rock band. And so how did you get to be part of the Pam and Tommy television show?
that was such a gift. I got a audition from Betty May Casting, and
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, great, love this office." Did my prep, had another actor friend help me tape for it, sent it in, and then you play the waiting game as you do. A lot
Of
of times you
course.
don't hear back, but this time we did, and that was great. Went to set. The Everybody super professional, but that's kind of what I expect from a project being, run by the producers and everything that you do. And it was we had Craig Gillespie directing that episode, so
Mhm.
he also runs a quick ship, so it was very fast turnaround. We moved in, out, got done. Everything was really smooth and fun. Got my hair and makeup done right next to Nick Offerman. We talked about his RV. We talked about, oh, he reminded me to make sure that I stretch, because he was like, what scene are you in? And he knows which page it's on probably, and what all the
Uh-huh.
lines are. So I mentioned it, and he was like, make sure you stretch. And I was like, noted, that's a lifesaver. And I did. And it was worth it. If you've seen the scene, it was worth stretching for.
Yeah, definitely. And and one of the recent films that came out was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and you do voice work for that. You play one of the characters in the film, and when you're doing voice work, like how do you get your voice right? Like how do you know what voice to use for the role?
That is an excellent question. This was one of those situations where I didn't have a ton of time, so I wasn't thinking super hard about it. I just knew that this is a superhero world. It needs a
Yeah.
superhero newscaster, and there's a very specific voice in my head for that. And I was like, I'm going to do that, and we're going to send that off, and we're going to do our best, cross our fingers. My partner, he happened to be around while I was taping that audition, and he was like, why don't you just emphasize like a couple of these, this word, and this word, like a little more, put a little bit more on that. And I was like, that's a great note. Yeah, sure. He's not an actor, by the way.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then, like, 2 days later, my agent calls, and she was like, hey, you got it.
Oh
And I
my
was like,
god.
wait, what was this? And a lot of these projects, they have code names, but if you're me, you know what TMNT means. There's only one thing that TMNT means.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, that was a very exciting moment. And I had, as an actor, you don't often get feedback from the director or from casting. You go, you do the job, and in, out, done. But I had the good fortune to chat with director Jeff Rowe for a little bit after the session,
Oh,
and he was like, like we heard your tape, and that was it for us. We just knew you got it right on the money. There was a little bit of like I think the term he uses, like a tinge of like fear mongering, a little bit, like a little bit
okay.
of like scary, ooh, like that they needed for that role. And I was like, okay,
Mm.
that's what I was thinking too, because um as an actor, you never want to judge your character.
Yes.
She's a news anchor, she's doing her job, but at the same time, you want to be cognizant of, in that world, in that narrative, you serve a purpose, and her purpose is she's not helping the turtles win a popularity contest in the world. So
No,
being
she's
aware
not.
of that, yeah, you got to sprinkle a little bit of that in there.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, but that was great. That was also really fast, and it was a blast working with that team. So much fun.
Nice. Like grown up, I mean, I know I'm gonna age myself here, but growing up, I was a fan of the old Turtles television series, that animated Turtles show, and I think it was like what, the late '80s, early '90s, and I was a huge fan of that series. And then when the movies came out, when the first films came out, like in '90s, like I was a fan of those. Like, were you a fan of any of the TV shows or the films?
I did watch the cartoons. They did run the like reruns of like the 80s animated
Yes.
series, and
Yes.
but when that 90s live action film came out, I
Yes.
still remember what the VHS box looks like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because
With them
my
coming out
brothers
in
and I, we would
sewer.
just pop that into the VHS all the time and just watch that over and over and over. Yeah, that movie lives in my head rent free.
I
All those
love that movie.
lines. It is so good. That is a master class in special effects. Like, I watched it again recently after Mutant Mayhem came out, just to,
Mhm.
get back into the nostalgia. And you really, for every second of that film, you believe that those are turtles running around in the city. Like, yeah, they're guys in suits, we know that, but like,
Yeah.
it's the special effects are so good. Like the robotics and the masks and everything. It's just so you buy it. You buy it.
Oh, you definitely do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If anyone
And
hasn't seen that, go watch it.
oh my God, yeah, like the what it was it, the three films. Let's that the secret of the ooze, and then when they go back in time, like it was like three films that they made.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I loved every film. Like I was a huge fan of that, and they eat my favorite food, which is pizza. So
Me too. They always make it look so good too, like with that extra cheese pull. You're just
yes,
like,
and,
well,
and it
I
just
have to get
oozes.
pizza now.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I watch it. Like when they pull it out of the box and the cheese is just stretching, and I'm like, I
Yeah, you
want
got a
more.
couple like pepperonis like trailing along. You're like, well, I know what I'm having for dinner, I guess. Is there free will? Who knows?
And so how was like working for Seth on the Turtles film?
So I this is actually the second one. Pam and Tommy was something that he EP'd on as well.
Oh, okay. I
Yes,
didn't
when
know
I
that.
found out that he was a producer on Mutant Mayhem, I was like, oh, Seth, we meet again. But I've heard he's very meticulous about who he works with and everything. Like, cast and crew, everybody has been stellar to work with. Like, this guy, he's not out of options for people to work with, so he chooses who he loves to work with, and I fully believe that. Now, I've heard it, now that I've seen it. Everybody is just so they're all just very generous and very grateful to be there. I have been on sets where it's like it's just a job for most people, which is totally
Yeah.
fine. Like, you're you're thriving in the entertainment industry. You have a job. That's a miracle in itself.
Yeah.
But to work on a set where everyone is stoked to be there, and everybody's just like, "Hey, how can I help you? Like, what do you need? Like, can I help with anything?" Like, it's a great feeling, because it's that set magic that you capture in a lot of those behind the scenes featurettes that I used to watch as a kid. Like, everybody's excited about the project. They're just happy to be there. So that's I definitely got that vibe from both Pam and Tommy, and from Mutant Mayhem, and it's you can't beat it. You honestly
Oh,
can't.
like doesn't that take the like if someone shows up on set and is just like, oh, this is just a job, I want to hurry up and get this over with so I could go back to my room, like doesn't that take the fun out of it, like if you're just showing up just to do it?
Yeah, it must. I'm sure it does. Like I can understand that too. Maybe you've had a day and
Yeah, that's true.
this is not this is not a great time, but at the same time, it's like, look at where you are.
I know. I know, you're right.
I understand. I understand both.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when you're not all auditioning and doing voiceovers and filming, like what do you like doing during your free time?
Oh, a lot. I love working with my hands. I love crafting and cooking, baking. I made a couple of these little guys.
Oh wow.
They're like little felted
Oh my
critters.
God, that's so awesome. I love that.
Yeah, they're so much fun. A couple of them were like from a craft kit, but these little guys
Yes.
I made up on my own.
That
I
is
love working
really
with my
awesome.
hands.
I love those.
Thank you so much. If you're ever in town, I can give you one. Be
Okay,
fun.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I'm totally down for
maybe I'll
that.
make like a more horror-y type one for you though. Like I don't know if like this might not match the show tone. Um, but yeah, I love crafting, restoring furniture. I love baking. I love going hiking, all sorts of things. My friends and I go camping sometimes. We love
Nice.
doing stargazing. So we got to catch a meteor shower this past summer, actually, and that
Wow,
was
that
amazing.
must have been fun.
Yeah, yeah. We saw a lot actually, and we didn't have to go outside of LA too far, but yeah, so things like that. There's like a good variety of fun activities. Pub trivia, love pub trivia. Not good at it, but love it.
So you say you like to bake. Like, is there anything that you love baking? Like, is there like one thing you love baking the most, or you just like baking everything?
Um, I definitely cannot say I bake everything. I'm a huge fan of Great British Bake Off, so I know
Okay.
all the varieties there is to bake, and I do maybe like 0.2% of it. I particularly love doing macarons, which are
Oh
those
yeah,
little
nice.
almond flour cookies. And then I've been getting into bread baking.
Okay,
Yeah, so those are probably the favorites right now.
nice, nice. So you bake your own bread. You don't go to the store to buy it anymore.
I mean, some pretty good bread out there. It's hard not to. But
Exactly.
it's nice, like if you're a little stressed out, like bread is a good stress bake because you get to like knead it and just really like take all your frustration out on it. Plus, it appreciates it. That's what it wants. So it works out for both of you.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Instead of like
Yeah, it's healthy.
boxing or hitting the bag, you could like
Yeah,
punch and hit bread.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. And do you have any hidden talent that fans might not know about you?
Well, let me know if you guys know. I can solve a Rubik's cube, but there was a craze when I was in middle school. Everybody was picking up Rubik's cubes. So, um being the follower that I am, I also picked up a Rubik's cube and learned the different sequences in the book and learned how to do that. So, that is something I can do.
That's awesome.
Not very useful at all, but
No, but that's really impressive because I have such a hard time with the Rubik's cube. Like it takes me so long just to solve like one area.
it's hard on purpose.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
normal.
And who's on your playlist? Like, what kind of music do you like listening to?
It changes a lot. Right now, it's Vince Guaraldi because it's Christmas time. So got
Yes.
a lot of that Charlie Brown Christmas music going on
Oh
here.
yeah.
Yeah. And Sufjan Stevens, he's got a lot of Christmas music too. So
Okay, okay. And when Christmas time comes around, that one song keeps playing over and over. All I want for Christmas is you, right?
I was, for some reason, I was thinking you were going to say the Chipmunk song, but
The
that
Chipmunk
is not
song
what you
too,
said at
yeah.
all. No, you're absolutely right, though. You're absolutely right.
what's like the last song that was stuck into your head? Like, one of those songs that you can't get out of your head.
No Diggity.
Okay, there you
Yeah.
go.
Love that song. I don't know all the words though, so it's kind of frustrating, but it's just, the chorus just goes through my head.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Is there an artist or band like you would love to see live that you haven't seen?
That I haven't seen. Okay. Because initially I was gonna say composer Joe Hisaishi. I did catch him this summer. I would love to
Oh,
see him with
sweet.
a full orchestra and full choir though,
Nice.
doing like the studio Ghibli hits. That would be
Nice.
incredible. Um, but I have seen him now. I guess I might go with Backstreet Boys. I've seen some clips of theirs where performing live, and they look like
Mhm.
they put on a great show.
I still haven't seen them live yet, but I would actually see them live because I've done the same thing where I've seen like the YouTube clips and all that stuff, and it looks like they put on a really fun show.
Yeah, it looks like a good time.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. And what would be your go-to karaoke song if you were gonna sing a karaoke song?
Four non-blondes, what's up?
Oh my god, I love that
So
song.
yeah,
Yes.
you can imagine my excitement when it pops up in Mutant Mayhem. I did not
Yes,
know
yeah, it
that
does,
song
yeah.
was going to be in there at all. And I have to confess, I know that song because of the He-Man meme, not because I'm familiar with Four Non-Blondes, but
Awesome, awesome.
yeah, it's a banger. It's a banger.
And we talked about horror, so I have to ask you, are you a fan of any horror films? Like, are there any you like watching?
A friend of mine actually made asked us if we'd like to watch Deadstream.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we did a poll and we had a movie night where we watched Deadstream. That one came out last year, I think.
Mhm.
Got it at
Mhm.
Screamfest, and it scared me. I'm a huge chicken. I do not do well with horror, but I will say like it was a pleasure watching this main character get his ass handed to him. Um, it's a scary movie. Like if you don't like scary things, do not do it.
Yeah.
However, I am still thinking about it though, which says
Okay.
something. It's still hanging. Not the fact that I am still thinking about how scary it is, but also like it's
Mhm.
it's just a clever movie.
Yeah,
Real clever.
I saw that movie. It was actually really good. It's scary too. Like, it takes a lot to scare me now since I saw so many horror films, but it was like a pretty scary movie. I liked it.
It is legit scary with like the makeup and the costumes and there are jump scares. Like it's scary across the board. Like the supernatural stuff. It
Yes.
hit all like the scary funny bones for me, and I was just like sitting there like, why am I doing this? Why? But also I loved it, so it's a weird love-hate thing. And then my brother has gotten me to watch a couple of those paranormal
Oh yeah, yeah.
activity movies, and those are also like you think about it, you leave thinking about it and you're like that was that was pretty cool, especially if you're like a special effects nerd like me. You're just like, did they do that? And but I think probably my favorite of all time, I consider Alien and Aliens to be
Oh yeah, it
horror
definitely
horror
is.
light maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely into that world, that horror
Yeah,
world. Yeah.
yeah, so those are probably my favorite horror films.
Okay.
Like they're they're perfect movies, they're perfect.
They really are. Like, they're so good.
Yeah, I don't have any bones to pick with it. They're perfect movies. They're written, the payoff, the setup. It's perfect.
Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
definitely. Is there any place you travel to that you love going to, like somewhere you always want to go to when you travel?
Let's see. I think one of my favorite trips has probably been New Zealand.
Oh,
Um,
I've never
I
been
went
there.
with a couple of my friends. Yeah, you should check it out. You should check
Okay.
it out. It's great. Our love for New Zealand actually started because of like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the
Oh my
the
god.
Jackson trilogy. So we got tickets and we spent 2 weeks on the North Island.
Mhm.
There's two islands, and it was a incredible trip. We got to go to Hobbiton and everything and see a bunch of like the filming locations. We hiked Mount Doom. Great trip. Great trip. So yeah,
Yes.
that's what I think about all the time.
Oh wow, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, highly recommended if you're in that part of the world.
Okay, okay. Is there any place you want to see that you haven't seen yet?
Yeah, I got to go back to the South Island because when I came back and I told some of my like travel nerd friends, they were like, "You went to the North Island and not the South Island? How dare you?" And I was like, "I'll get back there and I will." So calm down, Crystal.
Oh, you have to say the name too. Okay.
Yeah, sorry if you're watching this, Crystal. I just called you out. She's okay with that, I'm sure.
Okay. And what about food? Like, what kind of foods do you like to eat?
Oh, I I love all sorts of foods. I think probably top of the list would be sushi. I love Chinese roast duck though, so that is a close second, and I will never say no to an In-N-Out burger with onions and
You
cheese.
know, I haven't been to California yet, which I definitely should go visit, but I heard so much about the In-N-Out burgers and I never had one, so I definitely have to try it.
I always thought it was just us locals that love it because I've heard Texans say it's got nothing on Whataburger, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool for you. But I've heard Gordon Ramsay say that that is his death row meal if he were to have one. So that's got to mean something, right?
That definitely means something because he's very hard when it comes to liking food.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I will definitely try it though. I've been wanting to come to California area. Like I definitely have to try that burger.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's one close to the airport too, so
Okay, okay, sweet. And what about what's your drink of choice? Like if you were out with friends, hanging out, drinking, karaoke, whatever.
uh, I I love a good Shirley Temple, not gonna
Ooh,
lie. So that's probably it.
okay,
Oh,
there you go.
I've just discovered Roy Rogers. So
Oh my God, yes. Wow.
yeah.
That's definitely a name for I didn't even know they were still around. They are there still places around?
I mean, I think the bartender will give you an odd look if you ask for one, but they know what they are.
Okay. There you go. And, do you prefer coffee or tea?
Depends on the day. This today I have had both. It's been a double caffeine kind of day.
Nice. You see, as soon as I wake up in the morning, if I don't grab a cup of coffee, like I am miserable. Like I I know it's probably all in my head, like but if I don't have coffee, I'm like a zombie. I don't want to be talked to. As soon as I take that first sip, I'm like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?"
I can totally relate. The world just turns into a better place after coffee. What can I say?
Exactly. I mean, it definitely is all in your head because how's that possible? Like, as soon as you take your first sip, that you're like a completely different person.
I'm not sure. Like, I, I think I might be addicted to caffeine as well. So you
Yeah.
start experiencing the caffeine headaches. I think that's how you know.
Yes. Oh my God, that is a real thing. And is there anything coming up for you? Do you want to plug? Anything coming up next that you're allowed to talk about?
Nothing that I can talk about yet, but come 2024, I should be able to say something.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
if you want to come back on in 24 and talk about whatever you have coming up,
Oh, thank
I would love
you.
that.
Thanks so much. Yeah, yeah. We'll reach out.
Okay, sweet, sweet. And the last thing I will ask you is where can fans follow you at?
So my name is spelled a little bit differently. It's Raechel, and then it's Raechel Wong official on Instagram. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. It was really fun chatting. Like, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been a blast.
Thank you. Thank
It
you.
was really fun talking about some of the projects too. So I always really enjoy that.
Nice, nice. Well, definitely have a great weekend and happy holidays.
Oh, same to you. Same to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And